Yes, indeed. With that being said, welcome back. If you don't know, now you do know. You are officially tuned in to a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope. And if you've been paying attention to my Wellness Whisperer series, I can't stress enough about emphasizing the importance of just movement, breathing, thinking, nutrition, hydration, and sleep, and just overall figuring out ways on how we can continue to evolve from a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual standpoint, especially the physical, especially when it comes down to just standing up nice, tall, and upright, making sure our posture's all in alignment. Because in this particular episode, we're going to dive a little bit into chiropractic care, which of course is a form of alternative medicine focusing on diagnosing and treating mechanical disorders of the musculoskeletal system with an emphasis on the spine. I can't stress that enough because I talk to my personal training clients all the time about the importance of maintaining the posture alignment. So the guest I figured to have for this particular episode of the HFWB podcast series, why not have an actual chiropractor on herself? But she's just not no ordinary chiropractor. She's a trendsetter and trailblazing within her own right, as far as the story I was looking into earlier before we jumped on this particular episode. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I mean, she knows her stuff. And again, she's an inspiration within itself. I mean, she does have a bachelor's in biomedical science at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, which she got in 2015. And to top that off, she also has her doctoral of chiropractic degree, which she got from Life University in March of 2019, which she'll explain a lot better than I can. But overall, she is the owner of 100% Chiropractic, which is located right here in Corpus Christi, Texas, for all my listeners here in Corpus Christi. With that being said, I would like to welcome Dr. Shannan Girdy to the HFWB podcast series, or Dr. Shannan for short. Dr. Shannan, how is everything going on this Thursday evening?
Oh man, it's been very productive for sure. So it's been great. Yeah. How about you? Has it been productive as well?
It's been a very productive Thursday, to say the least. I'm actually in the process of doing my weekly regime of a 36-hour water fast, where I'm not eating any hard food for 36 hours, just drinking nothing but water just to cleanse the system out. But I'm doing it more so for the mental clarity and the spiritual alignment, as far as just the overall finding ways to grow and evolve from a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual standpoint. But enough about me, Dr. Shannan. The people want to know, as far as listening to the HFWB podcast series, who is Dr. Shannan? What is your background story? And what led you on the journey to basically not only become a chiropractor doctor, but at the same time, just have a business off of it?
Yes. Well, I always knew I wanted to be in the medical field. My great grandmother, she was a registered nurse. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would always hear stories of how awesome she was. Whenever I was a little girl, she actually saved my life. Whenever my mom was a little girl, she saved her life.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I was just so impressed about her knowledge. And, my great grandmother passed her knowledge on to my grandmother. And it's just like looking at those two women, I just became inspired to learn more about medicine and things like that. And
Right.
I feel like everything has its place. And with medicine and the new way that it's practiced and healthcare in general, I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't fall into that alignment of just giving out medications to mask symptoms. And so I did a little research and I shadowed different types of doctors. So I knew I wanted to be in the healthcare. And so I shadowed the ER, I shadowed primary care, I shadowed OB-GYNs, and I shadowed a chiropractor. And that's when I knew, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I
Okay.
shadowed Dr. Londa Vazo here in town. She's now retired. And I just saw the joy that chiropractic brought to her, the relief that the patients actually had. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, this is something new. I never heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
But it just piqued my interest. And so I went to what's called Life Leadership Weekend for my school that I went to in Atlanta,
Okay.
and they just really broke down the philosophy of how healthcare should be. And I just like, okay, this is what I have to do with myself. And so did that route. And I knew from the start, I always wanted to have like my own business, have my own practice, because I feel like I have a heart of an entrepreneur inside of me. And
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, I want to practice how I want to practice, no strings. I just want to enjoy life. I want to treat patients and see them get better. And, here we are today, owning my practice as a chiropractor.
I love it. I love it. So it kind of was like watching your mom, watching your grandmother, as far as being so involved in medicine, and then fast forward, shadowing different doctors, just trying to figure out which avenue, which lane fit best for you, and then before you know it, here comes the door opening up the chiropractor and everything, and it's like that alone is just inspiring within itself, Dr. Shannan. But most people don't know the real, that's part of the reason, as you just described, but a lot of people don't know this. And this is what I found when I was doing some research earlier, is that you had severe knee issues, you had migraines to the point where you would black out completely and you would question at times what was going on with your body until you got that first adjustment, ironically enough, do chiropractic treatment. Was that part of the reason that kind of like sparked your journey, as far as like, okay, this is what I want to do, because if it works for me, it could work for any patient who I see within my own practice, no strings attached? Can you kind of
Yeah.
elaborate on that a little bit
Yeah,
more details?
absolutely. So with that, I was a gymnast since 3 years old up until high school, was a cheerleader, ran track. So I put a lot of wear and tear on my body.
Okay.
And I was like, I am too young to have all these issues. And
Yes.
so it wasn't until I saw a chiropractor that actually answered my questions. And I was like, okay, great. Chiropractic is good for pain. But also I was having like other feminine issues with my ovaries. And I started seeing my body respond very well to that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
how is chiropractic helping like the actual function? And so going through chiropractic school, they really just drilled in us to the philosophy of what chiropractic is.
Mhm.
And essentially, if we break it down, it's all related to the brain and the spinal cord. And
Yes.
so I've heard,
Mhm.
other chiropractors say, like, a lot of people think we're back doctors, but the truth is we're spinal cord doctors. We're,
No.
on
Yeah.
that brain. If the spinal cord was in the pinky, then they would call us pinky doctors. But this is a thing. It's
This is
true.
true.
Um, and so this is the thing, like our spinal cord, our spine protects our spinal cord. And
Right.
so this is the thing, like the brain uses our spinal cord as a vessel to communicate its messages to all our organs. And
Mhm.
by it communicating, it's going to facilitate that healing. Our brain is amazing. And
Yes.
we have to let it be without any sort of interference. And
Mhm.
that interference happens whenever we live life, car accidents, gravity, looking down at phones, all these different wear and tear and traumas that we put on our body's going to shift and accommodate to fit whatever we do. And
Right.
so as that shift happens, it's going to start compressing the spinal cord. And then we also get that dysfunction. We get the symptoms, we get the diseases, and all these different things. And not a lot of people know that chiropractic is more than just pain, it's about making your body function at 100%. And that's
Mhm.
why this practice is called 100% chiropractic. And so, yeah.
No, I love how you touched on all of those points, and just to kind of summarize it in simple terms, as far as for everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, as Dr. Shannan alluded to, chiropractic is a lot. Chiropractors, excuse me, is a lot deeper than just back doctors. I mean, as you alluded to, Dr. Shannan, it's basically addressing all those neuromusculoskeletal complaints. As far as, it's not just being limited to back pain, it also includes neck pain, pain in the joints of your arms and legs, headaches, which of course relate to the brain and all that stuff. It's literally looked at as a goal just to promote optimal health, to ensure the body's systems, excuse me, are functioning effectively together. And I love how you kind of tied that all together within your current practice, 100% chiropractic. And for those who don't know, the motto for your business, Dr. Shannan, and you know this way better than I do, of course. Your motto is 100% integrity, 100% commitment, and 100% chiropractic. Hence, putting the into that motto with your overall name of your practice within itself. For those who are listening to the HFWB podcast series, especially here in the Corpus Christi, Texas area, and who are unfamiliar with 100% chiropractic and are wondering what kind of services you offer, what is it that I'm going to be getting myself into, kind of describe that to the listeners a little bit more in details.
Absolutely. So every new patient that we take x-rays on them. We're not guessing with your health. We need to see what structural imbalances there are. We take a thorough history to see what you put your body through. So that's your first visit. And then on the second visit, that's whenever we break down those x-rays that you can understand what's going on with your own body. We get you your first life-changing adjustment, and then we go over our best recommendations as far as what it's going to take to get you to where you want to be. And so that's how our intake process is. And
Mm-hmm.
so when someone comes in our office on the regular, it depends on what their body needs. We do offer laser therapy. So laser is a very concentrated light that penetrates the joints to get rid of inflammation, helps
Mm-hmm.
with scar tissue. We have that there. We do have 2 licensed massage therapists as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also another chiropractor, Dr. Armand. He's in the office with me as well. And so we show exercises, stretches, we have cupping, everything that addresses the body as a whole. We do nutrition counseling as well. And so we believe healing comes from the inside out. So we have to start on the inside to help you perform well on the outside.
I love it. I love it. And I love how you address all of those things as far as just the from the x-rays, just to providing the necessary wellness care for the patients and the family, and just showing that corrective chiropractic care that's necessary just to make sure the body's in total alignment within itself. And I feel like that'll be beneficial, Dr. Shannan, for every single patient that walks through your practice based on how you painted the picture within itself, because you're giving them a little bit of everything. You're not just sticking to just the actual care. You're actually caring about the overall health and well-being, and just being able to find ways to where we can improve and grow out of that within itself. Is there like a particular patient in mind where that comes to you at the top of your head, to where once you took care of that particular patient, you knew right then and there, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. Now it's time for me to run with it and take it as far as I can take it. Is there a patient that comes to mind in particular off the top of your head?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's one gentleman that I worked with. His neck was so far forward, a lot of degeneration, no space in between his bones. He came in hunched over, walking on a cane. Mind you, he's in his 70s,
Mhm.
World War II vet. And
Got it.
he came in with his wife, and they were just listing all his problems. And after taking care of him, his wife, she came in crying one day because she said that the family just did not recognize him. He had so much energy, and
Mm,
off of his walker, he
I
just had a
love it.
completely different demeanor. And so I was like, okay, this is it. I can do this. And it
Yes.
just had me thinking, like, man, I wish my great grandparents knew about chiropractic. That way they could have enjoyed life, have a good quality of life, not just quantity, because so many people can just exist until they're 90, but who wants to sit in a wheelchair or be, bedbound
No,
no years? That's no way to
exactly.
live.
Especially when you look at it from this perspective, just to throw a little bit of a spiritual context in it, Dr. Shannan. I mean, if you look back in time to like going as far as the Old Testament and the Bible, they were living like literally hundreds and hundreds of years, healthy as can be. So for the fact that you were able to impact that gentleman's life to where it's like, you were able to literally help them go through a transformational healing process within itself. That's just incredible. And that's more the reason why people should not sleep on chiropractors. So just to throw out a little bit of a stat that I actually found while I was doing some research on this particular topic, about 41% of people claim that care from a chiropractor significantly helps with persistent aching in the neck and the back. And basically, what you just described, Dr. Shannan, it attests to that exact statistic within itself. So it's like, I mean, if that gentleman can go through a transformational healing process based off of persistent neck and back pain, anyone can go through that exact same process within itself. And that just goes to show you that you're really trying to like be grab like a little bit more of an outreach within the community and stuff, and just being able to highlight the importance of these things, which kind of leads me into the next question, and probably the biggest reason why I wanted to have you on the HFWB podcast series, Dr. Shannan. You're actually in the process of putting together a big health event here in Corpus Christi, Texas. And we were talking about this before we started recording. It's going to be on November the 8th, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
from 2 to 4:30. Kind of give us a little bit more details on what your vision behind it is and what you're looking to accomplish with this event. And before you go, Dr. Shannan, this is also an event that yours truly, Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, will be a part of. And it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Dr. Shannan, just to kind of connect the dots there for those who are listening.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was thinking that I want to do something, host something for the community. I'm really trying to get my practice out there, get the word of health, like what it should mean out there to Corpus Christi.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a sad statistic, but at one point in time, we were voted the fattest city in the US.
Oh, yeah, we're actually still in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah,
Yes.
we still have a lot of work to do. I agree.
Yes. And so it's like we don't seem to value what health should be. And
Mm-mm.
so, of course, there's many different factors as the reason why, but I want to give individuals the resources, something free that they can attend. That way, they can learn and grow, and hopefully be inspired by the vendors that are there, from massage therapists, from doulas, from nutritionists, from nurse practitioners that practice in a way that focuses on making sure we can do things the natural way versus the traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I'll be there. I'll be preaching, about the benefits of chiropractic. And so we want to, give that opportunity to individuals just to have the resources, because a lot of times individuals just don't know. And that's why we are stuck in this place. And
Yeah.
so we want to just educate. And that's honestly the meaning of doctor. Doctor means teacher. And
Yeah.
so why not, fulfill what I got my degree, and I need to teach. I need to educate people on
Yeah.
what it is. So yeah.
We need to provide them the information. We need to provide them the knowledge. We need to provide them the resources. That way we can have, as you were alluding to, Dr. Shannan, a little bit more of a balance between the natural holistic practices and conventional medicine. Because I remember a conversation I had with one of the only naturopath doctors we have here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Her name is Dr. LaDonna Rocha, and she stressed on that entirely in deeper details than I can imagine. And the one thing I got from that conversation I had with her is that every other country other than America is literally practicing that in particular. So it's like, it's up to people like us, Dr. Shannan, to kind of let people know, hey, conventional medicine's okay in certain situations, but at the same time, let's not forget about the natural holistic practices now. I mean, we have to take it back to those times every now and then, because doctors, nurses, pharmacists, pharmacy technicians, we deal with enough stuff as it is, as far as life or death situations. But if we have the ability to heal ourselves from within and take care of ourselves at home, to where we can give the doctors and nurses and the pharmacists and all the people with those type of degrees a little bit of a break, I feel like the world will be a much better place. And that's kind of the reason why I started Health, Fitness, Wealth Business to begin with, Dr. Shannan, to show people that there is a different way other than basically the conventional medicine route. So this kind of leads into a very interesting question that I wanted to ask you now that you brought this up. For anyone who's struggling to find a balance between, for instance, the conventional medicine and the natural holistic practices, what would be some key pieces of advice you would tell that individual listening to the HFWB podcast series right now?
I'd say do your research. Go to a doctor that listens to you. I mean, if
Yeah.
you feel like, hey, they're not listening to you, then probably do more research. Find someone who will. And
Yes.
there's time and a place for everything. You know, medicine was made for a reason. There are certain instances to where you need that medical intervention right then and there.
Of course.
Um, but you should not have to live on that for the rest of your life. You need to do research on how to get off of that medication. And the problem is, we want to keep them on the medication. And
Yeah.
so we need to find
The
doctors.
Band-Aid fix.
Yeah. And so we need to find doctors that are not only going to treat you right then and there, but also figure out a way to get you off of those medications and find a way for your body to heal itself.
Yeah, because we have the ability to heal ourselves from within, and we can basically reverse our whole DNA structures due to studies like epigenetics and all these other things. So I feel like if we can just figure out a way on how we can do that more consistently, I feel like the overall will be in a much better place, and at the same time we can cut back on those statistics as far as like with diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and we can literally put an end to insulin resistance within itself once and for all, and we can cut back on just all the pain that people are suffering from just from not being able to like move their body properly or having that energy or just being able to stand up nice, tall, and upright instead of having that little hunchback, as they call it, which is why I appreciate everything that you're doing, Dr. Shannan, because most people don't realize, like as you just were describing, chiropractic care can be effective for that acute and that chronic pain, and it can improve the patient's quality of life along with their range of motion. So I feel like you are on to something and then some as far as what your overall practice. And yeah, I definitely wish you nothing but the best going forward within that, because we need to heal as many people as possible, one day at a time, one step at a time. But now, Dr. Shannan, we're actually at the point of the podcast where I basically ask everyone who comes on a list of questions just so they can know you a little bit more in details. First question is this, Dr. Shannan. What is the first thing you do or think of every morning that you wake up?
I read my Bible.
Got to get a chapter or two in within the Bible. You got to love it. A little funny thing about that, Dr. Shannan, is that I'm actually doing a little bit of a Bible challenge myself as far as trying to read the whole entire Bible from Genesis to Revelations. And the reason why in particular I'm doing that, I don't know if you saw the movie The Forge.
Yes.
That's such a fantastic movie. And I don't know why, Dr. Shannan, after I finished watching that movie and getting in tune with the spirit within me, something just told me I need to come back to not only reading the Bible more, but reading it and understanding it from start to finish. So I love how you said that that's the first thing that you do or think of every single morning that you wake up, because I feel like with the times that we're in, we need to come back to the book of instruction. We need to come back to the covenant. That's kind of what I've been talking about in my Wellness Whisperers series. So you heard it here first, everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series. Come back to the Bible before it's too late. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
My next question is this, Dr. Shannan. We all know, we both know more so than ever that health is wealth. You can't have one without the other. They're kind of like two sides of the coin. In your personal definition, what is health and wealth for you?
Health is your body's ability to heal itself without interference. That's it.
I love it. Simple, straightforward, right to the point. And once you do that, everything else will take care of itself. That's kind of one of my favorite messages I like to tell people all the time. I love it. When you think of the word community, Dr. Shannan, what's the first thing that comes to mind for yourself?
Community. I think of like my family. My family is like, my inner community. Then I have my friends, and then I have my colleagues. And so it's just different individuals that are in my community, like in my different communities within my life. I think of those individuals as mentors. So
Mm.
I want to be surrounded by individuals that push me to be a better version of myself. And so that is essentially what community means and what it should mean. And then also there's a community that I would create to educate, individuals and just help them be a better version of themselves.
I love it. It's all about just surrounding yourself with people who are, if not on the same level as you, if not better than you. That way, as you alluded to, Dr. Shannan, it pushes you to, of course, take your take your overall game to the next level, because that's the only way we're going to grow through what we go through. That's the only way we're going to learn from our mistakes and find room for improvement. And at the same time, that's how we're going to continue to evolve to be the best version of ourselves that we can be on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's the best possible answer you can give to that question within itself. I'm going to make a little bit of a transition, as I'm going to do a little bit of either or, asking you which one you would pick as far as the two choices I provide, with the first one being, for example, would you rather choose loyalty or respect?
Ooh, gosh, and I'm an overthinker. I'm
They
thinking,
go hand in hand. You really can't have
I
one
know
without the other. So it's like if you had
exactly,
to choose.
exactly. Um, I would say that, if they're loyalty, they're gonna respect you.
No,
Yeah.
that's you're not the first person who's answered it just like that. So that's acceptable. I'll take that. Would you rather live in space or live in the ocean?
Mm. See, I'd rather live in, well, goodness gracious. Maybe the ocean. Yeah. I like the water.
You go wrong with that. I mean, that's what 70% of our body is made up of, without question. You can never go wrong with the ocean. Would you rather be famous and poor or anonymous and rich?
Anonymous and rich.
Would you rather have unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant, or would you rather have unlimited first class tickets being able to travel anywhere?
Free meals.
Got you. Would you rather sing to every song or dance to every song?
Ooh, I love both. I would say sing. We'll sing.
Now, I'm going to throw this hypothetical scenario at you, Dr. Shannan. Picture yourself trapped on an island. It's deserted. You have nowhere to go, but you have the option to listen to five of your favorite music artists ever. It can be their whole entire catalog of music. It doesn't matter what genre it is. Who are those five music artists?
Ooh, goodness gracious. Toughies, very tough. Um, I would say I love Maxwell, Anita Baker.
Okay.
Um, goodness.
You got two right there.
Ooh, I like older music. I like Drew Hill. Jodeci's nice. I'm
Okay.
throwing some Kirk Franklin. I like his old albums.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
you can never go wrong with a mixture of R&B, soul, and gossip. That's a really
Yeah.
great combination on any day of the week, and I can attest to that for sure.
Mhm.
What is your favorite go-to meal, Dr. Shannan?
Ooh, goodness. Well, I have two. So I'll say one that my mom makes is chicken and rice casserole.
Mmm,
Delicious.
love
And
it.
then if I'm being fancy, oxtails with plantain, cabbage, and rice and peas. Those are my favorites.
Both of those dishes, Dr. Shannon, you cannot go wrong with without a doubt, easily. Where's the favorite place that you have traveled to thus far, and where's a place you would like to travel to that you have never traveled to before?
Hmm. Well, I would say my favorite place would be, as of now, I really enjoyed whenever I went to Chicago. I haven't been outside of the United States, so
Mm.
that is something I would like to do, is probably go to South America. I want to look at the temples and pyramids and explore. I'm a history buff.
No, there's nothing wrong with history. I'm a firm avid lover of history too, because I always like to go back in time and see how things came together to where it is to this very moment and today. It's something that's so intriguing about it that just reels you in, and it's like, I want more, I want more. Well, but at the same time, Dr. Shannon, as you know probably better than me, it draws more questions as well,
Mhm.
as far as like to where it's like, I need to dig in a little deeper. I need to do a little bit more research on all this. But it tends to tame the curiosity as well. That's for sure. You're super productive, Dr. Shannon. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Whenever you're not doing the things that you're doing, not only within your practice on a regular basis, what are some of your favorite hobbies that you like to do that many people may not know you like to do?
Whew. Well, before I became safe, I used to ride motorcycles. And right now, I just work out, spend time with family and my friends.
Oh,
So it's pretty
oh,
much what I like to do.
you can't go wrong with that at all. Last question before we wrap everything up, Dr. Shannon. Picture this scenario, right? You have the opportunity to go back in time 10 years ago. What would you tell yourself in that exact moment 10 years ago? And at the same time, based on your current journey, where you currently are right now, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Mm, So if I go back and tell myself something, I would say, "You got it. It's gonna pay off." Uh,
Mm.
yeah, I would say that.
And based on your current journey with like your practice and everything, where do you see yourself going in the next 10 years?
I see growth. I see continued growth. My goal is to change Corpus Christi. That's it.
I love it. Simple, straightforward message. It's all about growth. It's all about improvement. It's about providing an opportunity of change for the better. And it's just all about healing people one day at a time, one step at a time. That's the mission. That's the sense of purpose. And that's the overall vision that we're trying to bring into reality one day at a time. I
Mhm.
love it, Dr. Shannon. That's very, very informative as far as this whole entire conversation within itself. Where can people get in touch with yourself? How can people visit your practice, 100% chiropractic? And yeah, tell us a little bit more about this November 8th event for those who didn't hear the first time and need a friendly reminder.
Yeah, so absolutely. So we're having this event Friday, November 8th. We're bringing out many different individuals to talk about health and wellness. This is just a resource for you to come out and learn on how to better yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. In order to reach us, we're located off of Yorktown and Cimarron, so feel free to stop by. My girls will be more than happy to give you a tour, or if you have any questions. We're 100% Chiropractic Corpus Christi, and you'll find us like that on Google. So feel free to give us a call, and we're more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Yes, and I'm actually looking at the website right now on my other computer. Y'all need to go visit 100% chiropractic.com. I guarantee you it has the office hours, it has the phone number, email, location, as Dr. Shannon alluded to. And yeah, they're going to get you on track as far as just overall getting that postural alignment necessary. And at the same time, just making sure that you are all taken care of, just as far as from an overall natural healing holistic standpoint, because by improving that spinal alignment, it can help enhance the body's nervous system function, which may and if not may will improve overall health and wellness. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. With that being said, Dr. Shannan, I just thank you so much for making time out of your productive schedule just to simply bless us with an appearance on the HFWB podcast series. I look forward to great things, not only from yourself and not only from your practice, but the unlimited amount of possibilities of us collaborating even more so, more than ever going forward. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
No, of course, Dr. Shannan. And with that being said, this is your host, Clifton Pope, with the HFWB podcast series. I encourage everybody to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace, love, and positive vibrations. What's going on, everybody? It's yours truly, Clifton Pope, with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and you're tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series, and it's being brought to you by my new book that just released on Amazon.com, October 30th, 2024, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. And this is basically the trilogy to my first two self-help books, What's Wealth Without Work and A Dollar and a Vision, which are both also on Amazon as we speak. And basically, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency is all about how to overcome the lack of consistency and the truth on what is stopping you from putting in the work to create your own formula to success. We've all been there before, which is why I'm trying to help expose the cracks on where everyone is at when it comes to people who are having hard times staying the course. Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. This book is for those who truly want to stay after it in what they love and what they stand for by cracking the code on how to remain ready by staying steady so you can even out the odds against you, right? This book will break down how to decide what is important and urgent in your own life at this very moment. The sense of urgency is on because time is money, or is it really? Consistency with a Sense of Urgency will focus on all the information, knowledge, and secrets of yours truly, Clifton Pope, and how you can complete your mission to discover your sense of purpose in the world we live in. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? Which is why I say we are all here for a reason. And Consistency with a Sense of Urgency will help you discover that for anyone who needs a personal guide on how to do so. This is the book for those who are finally ready to quit making excuses and tackle your goals and or to-do lists once and for all, so growth, improvement, and evolution can take the course in your world for the greater good. So just like that, y'all need to hop on Amazon.com right here, right now, as we speak. Go order Consistency with a Sense of Urgency, my newest self-help book that I have personally self-published myself. Shout out to Amazon.com for that opportunity. Y'all stop what you're doing. Go buy Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. That way we can continue to remain consistent with a sense of urgency like never before. This is yours truly, Clifton Pope of Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and I approve this message. And go buy Consistency with a Sense of Urgency right here, right now. Let's make it an Amazon bestseller, a New York's bestseller, because this book is just for you. Let's remain consistent with a sense of urgency, y'all. Stay healthy, wealthy, blessed. Peace and love.